The next morning, I called my attorney and asked her to review the trust documents. She confirmed what I already knew. I had full authority to terminate their usage agreements if payments remained overdue. For days, I wrestled with the decision, remembering childhood holidays where I was ignored, birthdays where Lucas received lavish gifts while I received polite smiles, and dinners where my opinions were dismissed before I even finished speaking. It was not one moment that pushed me forward. It was years of quiet disrespect finally reaching a breaking point. I prepared formal notices revoking temporary property privileges and requiring immediate financial accountability. The documents were placed into official envelopes and delivered to the headquarters of Pierce Dining Group the following Monday morning. By noon, my phone began ringing non-stop. My father called first, his voice shaking with disbelief, as he demanded to know why legal notices had been delivered to his office. Lucas called next, furious and confused, insisting I had no authority to interfere with family property. My mother left a voicemail accusing me of betrayal and jealousy. I listened to every message calmly, forwarding each one to my attorney without responding. By evening, the reality had begun to settle in. The restaurants they believed were permanent fixtures in the city were standing on legal ground controlled entirely by me. 2 days later, they arrived at my apartment together. My father spoke loudly, trying to intimidate me into reversing the decision. My mother cried dramatically, accusing me of humiliating the family name. Lucas paced back and forth, demanding explanations as if shouting could rewrite contracts. I listened quietly until they finished speaking. Then I placed copies of the trust agreements on the table in front of them. Their expressions changed instantly as they read the legal language confirming my authority. For the first time in years, the power dynamic shifted, and they understood the truth they had ignored, that the business they celebrated publicly depended on the daughter they dismissed privately. What followed was months of legal negotiations, financial restructuring, and difficult conversations. Vendors tightened terms, investors demanded transparency, and several locations closed due to unpaid debts. My family accused me of destroying everything, yet the truth remained simple. They had built their success on unstable decisions and blind confidence. Eventually, after intense mediation, I offered them one final agreement. They could continue operating under strict financial oversight, or they could walk away entirely and start over without my support. For once, they chose responsibility. A year later, Pierce Dining Group was smaller but stable, operating only the locations it could truly afford. Lucas learned to manage finances instead of chasing appearances. My father stopped pretending success was guaranteed and began asking questions he should have asked years earlier. My mother grew quieter, no longer boasting about wealth she did not understand. As for me, I did not move back into their world of luxury dinners and staged photographs. Instead, I built my own consulting firm, specializing in corporate recovery and risk prevention, helping other families avoid the same mistakes mine had made. Sometimes, when I think back to that New Year's Eve, I remember standing alone near the balcony while fireworks lit the sky outside. I remember how invisible I felt in a room full of people who shared my last name but never truly saw me. And now, when I stand in my own office overlooking the city skyline, I feel something entirely different. Not anger, not revenge, but clarity. Because in the end, I did not destroy my family's empire. I simply revealed the truth they had hidden behind celebration and pride. And the greatest lesson I learned from all of it is this: respect is not given by blood, and silence is never proof of loyalty. It is only proof of patience waiting to run out. My name is Natalie Pierce, and I am 32 years old. 3 months ago, on New Year's Eve, my entire family gathered in my parents' penthouse overlooking downtown Miami. Champagne glasses clinked. Fireworks were already lighting the sky outside the tall glass windows, and laughter filled the room as if everyone there belonged to something grand and untouchable. Everyone except me. I stood near the balcony holding a glass of sparkling water because I never liked alcohol, watching my parents move through the room, greeting guests like royalty, welcoming loyal followers. My younger brother, Lucas, wore tailored suits and laughed loudly with his fiancée, while my mother admired her reflection in a mirrored wall, adjusting her diamond necklace as if it were a crown. My father stood in the center, giving orders to staff and greeting investors, introducing Lucas as the future of the family business. No one introduced me at all. The Pierce family owned a chain of luxury restaurants known across the city. From the outside, we looked like a perfect success story: wealth, reputation, influence. But inside the family, I was treated like a shadow that accidentally wandered into the wrong room. I did not work in the restaurants. I did not appear in promotional photos. I did not attend charity galas wearing expensive gowns. Instead, I worked quietly as a corporate risk analyst, spending long hours reviewing contracts and financial structures for companies facing collapse. My job was not glamorous, but it was powerful in ways most people never understood. Numbers tell stories that pride tries to hide, and for years, I had been reading the hidden story of my family's business while pretending I knew nothing. At midnight, when fireworks exploded across the sky, my father raised a glass and gave a speech thanking everyone for supporting Pierce Dining Group through another successful year. He praised Lucas for his leadership, praised my mother for her vision, and praised several investors by name. When he finished, the room applauded loudly. I waited, thinking maybe he would acknowledge me in some small way, perhaps mention how I had helped during the difficult months years earlier. He did not. Instead, he turned to Lucas and handed him a velvet box containing keys to a brand new sports car parked downstairs. The room erupted into cheers, and my mother wiped tears of pride from her eyes. I stood there unnoticed, holding my untouched drink, feeling the familiar sting of invisibility tighten inside my chest. What hurt the most was not the lack of recognition, it was the memory of everything I had done to keep that empire standing. 5 years earlier, during a financial crisis no one outside the company knew about, Pierce Dining Group had been on the edge of bankruptcy. A series of risky expansions and unpaid loans had nearly destroyed the business overnight. My father had panicked, Lucas had disappeared to Europe with friends, and my mother had insisted everything would magically fix itself. I was the one who stepped in quietly, using my own professional connections to restructure their debt, negotiate emergency financing, and create a holding company that legally protected their most valuable properties from foreclosure. I placed those properties under a trust that only I controlled, a move recommended by my legal advisors to prevent reckless spending from destroying everything. My father believed I had handled paperwork. He never realized I had secured the foundation beneath his entire empire. After the celebration ended that night, I walked out without saying goodbye. No one stopped me. No one noticed I had left. That silence followed me all the way to my apartment, where I sat at my desk and reviewed financial statements that had been troubling me for months. The truth was clear. Pierce Dining Group was once again drowning in debt. Vendors were unpaid, investors were growing impatient, and new loans had been taken against properties my father believed he owned outright. But those properties were still under my trust, the same one created during the previous crisis. I stared at the numbers for hours, realizing something I had avoided admitting for years. My family had not learned from past mistakes. They had simply depended on my silence to save them again.